So today we want to talk about elevators. That will be our main focus. Elevators. If you have time, we are going to talk also about incline plane. Anyway, so I'm going to use a question to teach everything on elevators. So before I read the questions, or before I read the question, allow me first to explain about elevators. Initially, when we're talking about elevators, these are the things which you guys know already. I mean, you have been um, do we have anyone from Luapula or Eastern Province? I think in Eastern, I don't think there are elevators there. Luapula, I don't think so. But those who have been, you are here now in Lusaka. I believe if you have been to Manda Hill, you have been to Levimo, Longa Cresmo, and which one? East Park. East Park doesn't have elevators, right? Findeco. Yes, so now guys, what's happening here is this. If you have got an elevator, let's assume that this is our elevator. Here is my elevator, and this elevator, there is a person inside, or let's say we have got a scale. I'm going to say that is a scale. Inside here, there is a person. Okay, so this is a scale. There are two things. It's either this elevator is coming down or it is going up. I want you to understand this principle, please. When you are inside the elevator, it's either the elevator, when you want to go on top, it will be going up. When you want to go down, it will go down. Okay? So we are dealing with one thing. We are dealing with the acceleration. Okay? Now, if the elevator is going up, the acceleration is positive. If the elevator is coming down, the acceleration is negative. This is the only principle, guys. Believe me, this is the only principle under elevator. If the elevator is going up, the moment you hear upward, just know that the acceleration is positive. Downward, the acceleration is negative. As simple as that. Now, one thing we have to know, guys, is that if this is the scale will always experience what? The normal force. So there is a normal force for this person which is going to be directed downward. So we expect to have the normal force. The normal force is always mg. Not the normal force, sorry. The weight force. The force directed downward is what we call the weight of that person. So the weight of that person, we are going to say that is the weight force. So we have got the weight force. The force perpendicular to this surface going up here is what we call the normal force. So we have got two forces. The normal force acting upward and the downward force is the weight force. Does that make sense? So now we can take the summation of all the forces in y direction. So we'll say the summation of the forces in y direction. What forces do we have? We have got the normal force pointing upward, so it will be positive. Then the downward force, this force is going to be negative because it's pointing downward. Like that. Before I even drive this formula, if I've got a question, please let me know. Okay. So what we need to know now is, according to Newton's second law, as long as there is acceleration where there is summation, replace it with mass times acceleration. So this is going to be replaced by ma is equal to fn minus mg. Mostly, what we need to understand is that the scale is going to read the normal force. The scale is going to read the normal force. Therefore, you are supposed to make the normal force as a subject of formula. As long as you hear elevator, the moment we're talking about the elevators, the scale will always read the normal force. So you need to make the normal force as a subject of formula. So I'll shift this to the left hand side. So I have MA plus mg is equal to the normal force. This is the same as I can put Fn here and say Ma plus mg like this. Any question? Do we have questions? Okay. After doing that, what's next now? The next thing we have to do, I can I can factor out m. So I'm going to have Fn to be equal to m, open brackets, a plus g. So the general formula which I want you to know under elevators, any question under elevators, this is the final formula. But you have to come all the way from this point here, you come here, then you come there, you come there. Finally, the final formula is there. Physics is very important for you to show where the formula is coming from. Okay? From what I've given you right now, guys, believe me, you can answer any question for elevator. You can check the paper, the past paper which came, the exam, that should be for 2022. Yeah, 2022 and 2023. The question for elevator, it was there and it was just direct. Now let's solve this question. So the question is, a 45 kg woman stands on a spring scale inside an elevator. The scale reads the force with which it pushes upward on the woman. What does the scale read when the elevator is accelerating part A upward at 3.5 meters per second squared? B, downward at 3.65 meters per second squared. Do you have anyone who has got a calculator nearby? A calculator nearby? Anyone who has got a calculator? Mwanza, you don't have a calculator? Look for it, because I don't have a calculator nearby. You have managed to find it? Yes, we are still waiting. So as you are looking for a calculator, we said that, so let's come up with our data. For part A, what do we have? So the data which we have been given the mass to be 45 kgs, and you always know that G is 9.8 meters per second squared. What acceleration do we have? So the acceleration which we have is 3.6 meters per second squared. But remember, we are talking about part A, where we have been asked to find. So I can get rid of this and now write my formula here on top. we have been asked to find the the question is, what does the scale read when the elevator is accelerating upward? That is part A. So you can only, the scale can only read the normal force, so you need to find the normal force. This is why I've made Fn as a subject of formula. So Fn will be equal to, what is the mass? The mass is 45. Open brackets. The acceleration now. It was going upward. Do we expect our acceleration to be negative or positive? When it's going up, the acceleration is positive. So I'll put 3.65. Okay, thank you. So I want you to do 3.65 plus 9.8. The answer you're going to find, do times 45. What will be the answer? No, 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 no. Do 3.65 plus 9.8. 13.5 times 45. What answer are you getting? Uh, uh, 3 times 3.65 plus 9.8, which is 13.545, then times 45. What are you getting? 605.25 newtons. That's the answer which is here. You get it right? Then now part B is saying, what does the scale read when the elevator is accelerating downward? What would be the value of acceleration? Is it positive or negative? Hmm? The mass is 45. So since it is coming down, the acceleration will be negative. Negative 3.365 plus 9.8. So what will be the answer? So do negative 3.65 plus 9.8. The answer you find times 45. What answer are you finding? 276.75 newtons. This answer is the one which is here. Any problem under elevators? Any problem under elevators?